And moving on to yourself, Danny, why is it important for you to talk about mental health and for people to share their lived experience?
Thank you, Chandy, and thank you also for sharing, Linda. Yeah, it's a big question. Let me start with a very quick introduction so that people know what the heck I'm even doing here. So hello everyone, my name is Danny Rahim, and yeah, a long-standing member of the Speakers Collective. My journey with mental health, or if we're describing mental ill health, I guess started with the awareness around my mum when I was growing up, and she had a car accident when I was about 11 years old, and unfortunately lost her baby. So she miscarried her child and was subsequently diagnosed with PTSD and more recently with EUPD, emotionally unstable personality disorder. So in that high school phase, teens, we had a mum that was particularly unwell, but no one really sort of knew how to label it. It was just, well, it's funny because the other day I asked my gran, how's your mental health? Just as a kind of to see where she was. She's a 85-year-old Pakistani lady, and she said, "What's that?" And it did kind of make me laugh a little bit because it's just not even on her radar. So I'm trying to do my little bit to improve her or increase her awareness. So that happened. Mental health or mental ill health was in the family for is still in the family, actually. It's managed. But it became my desire to initially support mum. So I took lots of courses. I took counselling courses, coaching courses, mental health first aid instructor, etc. And more recently, I decided I wanted to complete a master's in positive psychology, which I'm now completing at the University of East London. And from spending so much time, what I perceived was a space of deficit with, mental ill health and actually trying to support mum through that. And actually lots of friends that then came forward and started sharing about how they were feeling as my studies increased. I realized there's also another side of the continuum. When we're talking about mental health, generally what we're referring to is mental ill health, but mental health is on a continuum. There's illness and there's the diagnosis over here, but there's also optimal mental health and flourishing. And I think sometimes we can forget that side of the continuum, and it's an equally as important side of the continuum. So, time to talk. Why is it important? Well, it helped me. It saved me in a way. I was in a really, really bad position, 2012, suicidal ideation, really, really bad place. I had this, when they say bad things happen in threes, I must have had about 5 things happen altogether. And so therapy helped a lot. My friends helped a lot. But one thing that I really realized and that helped me as well was it's much easier to get your triangle of trust or your support infrastructure, whatever you call it, when you're not in crisis. So establishing those pillars around you when you're in a good place, actually, or utilizing opportunities like Time to Talk Day to think, who are those people? Who is that individual around me when I ask them how they're doing, or they ask me and I say I'm good, they just don't let me get away with it. Who's that person that really digs in that little step further and says, nah, I'm not having a good, whether it's a number or our emotional literacy. I think sometimes as a society, that's what we're lacking a little bit, is we don't actually kind of understand how we're feeling. And so therefore we don't know how to describe it or convey it. So how do we develop that emotional literacy? And that's just through practice, find one word that better describes how you're really feeling. So I do a lot of work in that space. What flourishing optimal human potential looks like. There's a lot of research and study, scientific study, evidence-based study that is looking in that area at the moment, and that I thoroughly enjoy. But I guess a little thing that really resonated as well, the Time to Talk. I remember, I think it was BT did there was a campaign, I think it was It's Good to Talk. I think it might have even been Bob Hoskins or something like that. And I thought, imagine if that at that time that mental health was on everyone's agenda and It's Good to Talk was sort of pushed out in such a way that it just, everyone knew that as a slogan. Well, I certainly did, but depending, I guess, on your age. And it really is good to talk. And a lot could have probably been done around that campaign had we had that literacy or investment or time into it, but we didn't, and we are where we are now. But yeah, I guess the ideal position for me, I'm someone who likes targets and directions, and actually something to aspire to for myself, as well as my friends and my peers and those individuals that I coach. But um, it's that we don't actually need to have a time to talk day. That actually it becomes such the normality that we are just talking all the time anyway. That it's more common that we are checking in with each other daily, even, and really carving out that space to speak, reflect, check in, celebrate our wins as well. You know, if you do have a good day, then enjoy it, celebrate it. Yeah, as humans, we can often have a bit of a negativity bias, and you know, three or four good things might happen to us in a day, and one bad in quotation marks happen, and we tend to dwell on that. So cognitive reframing, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff here, but yeah, hopefully a few little bits. I guess my parting thing to say is create that triangle of trust, create that support infrastructure around you when times are okay, or hopefully when times are good, so that when you do get to that point, hopefully not, but with this 1 in 4 statistic, I mean, that 1 in 4 statistic is reported. Okay. So that's people have gone and reported and checked. What about those people that haven't? And as Linda said, I know from my household and my friends, it's definitely not 1 in 4, it's 3 in 4 at the very least. So 75% of my friends, family, colleagues, peers. So that 1 in 4 is reported. And I don't think a full representation of where we are as a society. But yeah, create that infrastructure, keep yourself safe, secure, and happy, so that if that unfortunate moment of crisis does occur, which inevitably it does, you're ready and you know who to lean on and who to speak to, and it's not such a challenge at that time. I think that's it.
Thank you, Danny. I think, when John and Joe and me were putting this together, and they said that you were going to be one of our panelists, it felt a bit special because I think I joined the collective thanks to you. You managed to get me into it and get me part of that. I remember having that initial conversation and doing those things that you talk about, like reflecting and talking about why are we part of the collective and things like that. And so hearing you share that journey was really powerful. So thank you.